All right, so welcome to Coffee with Marcus and Mark. And in this show, we are going to talk to you about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading it. And today is Monday, August 15th, and last week the S&P 500 closed higher 4 weeks in a row. And it even closed about the magic number. We'll take a look at this. But can this rally last another week? Interesting developments in the markets this morning. Plus, we'll show you our current positions and how we are trading the markets. As you can see, there's lots to talk about today. But if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Markus Heitkoetter. This is my head coach, Mark Hodge. And together we have a shit ton of trading experience because we are real traders who trade live accounts. And we are showing you exactly how we trade these crazy markets. So trust me, we know our stuff and we're not afraid to tell you like it is. And if you're looking for some honest insights into the world of trading, you are in the right place. But before we dive in and show you our accounts, how we are trading it, our position, let's take a look at what's happening in the markets. Mark and I brought up here a 5-minute chart of the Nasdaq, and Friday, up and away.
Yeah, quite a day on Friday, Marcus. Just opening higher and really rallying throughout the day, finishing at highs of the week of the day. So just a strong week. Things are looking good. And this morning, you open lower, but really just chopping around here. Not a whole lot going on.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at this, let's just bring up a daily chart of the S&P. I mean, we had a tremendous run, and this morning there's not a whole lot going on. We had some news out of China, right, where the China economy is not doing that well, and this is where the Chinese government or the Chinese bank then immediately slashed interest rates. So here we're talking about increasing interest rates, and they lowered interest rates, but. We talked about it with our mastermind this morning. They don't believe in this whole quarter point, half point, 3/4 of a point. They just lower it by 0.1% from 2.85 to 2.75.
Sure. And I mean, this is where they've been dealing with some COVID lockdowns, and there was a little bit of a boost there when things were opening. But yes, the economy tumbling a little more than expected in July, cutting interest rates unexpectedly. But all things considered, it had a muted impact on U.S. markets, opening slightly lower. I think the Nasdaq opened like 0.4% down, and then things just drifted higher. So at the open, it looked like traders were really just kind of looking for an excuse, leaning towards China being a market mover, and then shaking that off.
Yeah, and I think the biggest impact was on crude oil because
Yeah.
China is just a massive crude oil consumption powerhouse. And this is when they said, oh, we're slowing down. This is when crude oil slid dramatically, but we already see that markets are kind of shaking it off. So, I mean, we got to talk about the magic number in the S&P 500 because we talked about it last week. So you actually brought it up. It's a good point.
Yeah, so 4231, the magic number. And there's some data that shows that since 1950, there's never been a bear market rally that exceeded 50% or a 50% retracement and then go on to make new lows. So from the rally that we saw in all-time highs and then the lows that we saw in June, a 50% a rally would put us at 4231. We did close above that number on Friday, so we popped above it, and we'll have to see, is this a new, a continuation of history where we continue to move higher and we do not test and make new lows, or do we break history's precedent? We'll see.
We shall see. We shall see. Yeah. So in a moment, we'll take a look at our positions and what we did this morning, what happened here last week. But I also want to bring up the economic calendar because it is somewhat busy this week, not too busy. Because if you look at the economic calendar, the big ones will be on Wednesday, where we have retail sales reporting and then also the FOMC meeting minutes.
Sure. And that's what it's really all about this week. Retail, 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 and then that Fed meeting minutes. With retail, you have the retail sales data on Wednesday, but you also have a bunch of retailers themselves reporting earnings. And we have seen some guidance cut from retailers. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues or if it's already priced in. I mean, with 4 nice weeks higher, and then going into this week kind of muted. It does look like traders are looking for that next reaction, that next data to drive the markets higher or potentially pull back. And it seems like most of that comes out Wednesday and with earnings.
Yeah, and tomorrow Walmart is reporting earnings, and this will be interesting. Also, same Target, and I mean between these two big retailers, they kind of have a good pulse of what's happening with consumer spendings there. But then we also have Lowe's reporting earnings on Wednesday, Home Depot reporting earnings on Tuesday. And then we have Kohl's and Macy's on Thursday reporting earnings. So quite a busy week. I mean, we are wrapping up earnings season. Now we have more than 90% of the S&P 500 companies have been reporting earnings. And I mean, overall, it's pretty good results.
Yeah, and this is also where sometimes when the guidance has been the focus, but we have seen that some retailers are slowing down with their jobs, cutting jobs. Best Buy, Marcus, they said that they cut store jobs across the country um, as as it works to lower costs in response to customer spending habits. So I think that that's kind of the right now what's in limbo, right? Will the cutting jobs and slowing down growth, which could be great for inflation and what the Fed wants, so overall that could boost the overall well, it could help because of the inflation challenges that we've had, but for individual retailers, it could be a negative, or is good news bad news because now their bottom lines help. That's where it gets a little tricky.
Yeah. Let's talk about retailers. So one of the retailers that I traded last week, did you take this trade as well? Macy's?
Macy's, I missed it. I was trying to go for the 1650, and I was the offer all day long or most of the day.
Right. I remember. So I sold the 17 put expiring last Friday, and as you can see, we closed at more than 20 here. So this expired worthless. So right now, nothing yet to do here. Let's talk about Pfizer first, and then we come back to NVIDIA. So Pfizer, dang it. I mean, I missed it on Friday. So here's what happened. On Thursday, we sold the 47 puts expiring 8/19. And I sold those for 40 cents. And then on Friday afternoon, when I was already hanging out at the pool, but you noticed that they were trading at 5/6 cents. And usually our profit taking here is 4 cents. But if within a day we can make what, 86%? So you closed this one, right?
Yeah, I was able to squeeze out a couple extra pennies on the front end, so I got 42 cents instead of 40. And then the last hour of the day, I was trying to get that 5 cents, which is right around that 90%, right? Because it's 4.5 would technically be the 90% max profit. But then going into the close, that 5 wasn't hitting and the offer was 6. So I decided to take it. And that was 86% for a 1 day trade. I figured why not free things up for this week?
Absolutely. Now, I missed that, so I'm still in this trade. This morning, I got partially filled because over the weekend we had some time decay. I still have my order sitting at 4 cents, and I am the bid for the longest time here, and I got filled in 2 out of my contract. So just a partial fill. We'll see. Right now, Pfizer is pulling a little bit back, but I'm not too concerned about it. Again, sold the 47 puts, so plenty of room here. But I might consider closing it if I can today also for 5 cents here. Just to free up some positions, just in case with Wednesday's retail sales, maybe there's some movement in the market and we could take advantage and sell some more puts, freeing up some buying power here. All right, NVIDIA. So I was assigned 600 shares at 195, and I told you my plan is to sell the 200 call because I want to benefit from a move higher in NVIDIA. And this morning, NVIDIA was pushing higher. So looking at the calculator, I was actually planning to sell the 200 call at $1.20. And I mean, it was trading, I think, as high as 123. But by the time I placed the order, $1.20, and right now it is trading at 75 cents. So I'm not yet filled on this one, but the idea here is to collect $720 in premium with the potential of adding another $3,000 if by the end of the week we are above 200, and that's what I'm looking for with NVIDIA. Now, your NVIDIA is AMD, so what's your plan there?
Yeah, and so here I have a slightly different perspective. I'm looking to move on from this trade, but I don't feel like I need to rush with an exit. In August so far, AMD was actually one of the most actively traded or purchased stocks by retail traders. Tesla being number one, I think AMD being number three. And so I don't feel like I need to force an exit, but I'm ready to move on. I was looking at the 104 calls where I was assigned, and there was some nice premium. We had some people in the mastermind group get like $1.40, I think it was. I'm hoping that we drift a little bit higher, and then I could either get huge premium and then get called away on Friday, or even if we break through the 104 level, maybe close the position outright. I'm not in a rush to sell calls, but pulling back a little bit now, and that premium was looking pretty good just about an hour ago.
Yeah, so we kind of both missed this one this
Yeah.
morning, and but I mean, there's no need to force everything on Monday morning. We still have a whole week of trading ahead of us, and before we look at the TPR trade here, just let me know, is this helpful as we are running through these trades and what we are doing, what we are thinking? And that's why I said, I mean, real traders, real money. And this morning, it didn't work out as we planned to. But this is where we also promised you that we'll share it as it is. If this is helpful, click on like, and then we'll dig more through these trades. So now I want to show you the other trade that I'm in, TPR. And then we'll also talk about some possibilities that we looked at today, because there was a lot popping up on the scanner. So TPR, I need to actually zoom out here a little bit. I got assigned at 37. Thought that it would show it here. Okay, anyhow, at 37, I got assigned. And we have earnings reporting this week. So also on Thursday, TPR reporting earnings. So I have been able here last week to sell the 38 calls for 50 cents. So I made $1,350 on the call. Now, if TPR closes below my strike price of 38 on Friday, I just keep the premium. If it closes above the strike price, I'm getting called away and make an additional $2,700 on the stock. So this is a trade that I have placed. I mean, this morning TPR is hanging in there. Volatility is increasing ahead of earnings. So I saw that this morning this call was available actually for 60 cents, even though TPR overall not much moving today. There it was. That's
And
odd.
this is
There it is.
this is
Oh, I
actually
put it to 47. That's why it doesn't work. Hold on. Let me bring this down here, the coordinates to 37, because that's where I got assigned. Go ahead. Yeah,
there you go. There you go.
much better.
But this is typical for earnings too, Marcus, because you have what's known as volatility rush when option premium is increasing, and so that's because traders are expecting a move to take place, right? And with earnings, you don't know if that move is going to be higher or lower, but what you do expect is that there will be a reaction. And then after earnings, you typically have what's known as volatility crush. That's where the news is out. So the what if, the unknown, is now known, and you get those option premium decreasing. So from an options trading perspective, especially if we own shares and we're selling covered calls, we're okay selling the calls going into earnings to take advantage of that. But we really try to shy away from selling puts before earnings just because of the unknown.
Yeah. Anyhow, so this is why we also automatically filter it out when we do have here our wheel scanner filter, so that we do not see puts that would expire after earnings are being reported. So this is why this week you will not see anything like Macy's, Lowe's, Walmart, Target. I mean, all of these that are reporting will not appear on the scanner. So I mean, this
Netflix
morning it
was
was
a good one a couple of earning seasons ago.
which one?
And why? Netflix was a good reason to have that role.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Netflix, let's just take a look at the chart really quick. I mean, just plummeting like crazy twice into earnings. And that's why we
Yep.
don't do that. I mean, Netflix, wow, let's just measure this. I mean, this is down from the high to now still 65%. At some point, they were down 75%, but they're still down 65%. So you don't want to get stuck in there. Therefore, there's a rule. Now, this morning, a lot of symbols popping up. Many of them are energy stocks because crude oil was moving lower. I mean, crude oil down 5%, and that prompted quite a few energy stocks. We flagged a few maybes that we want to keep an eye on for the remainder of the week. Um, Really, if you look at APA here, for example, and we look at the last 6 months, we see that APA has found some good support here at 30.50, so that is a possibility. And right now, if you would take this trade, it would give you 33% annualized. MRO, another company, this was as low as 2050 this morning, right, Mark? Which
Yep.
was much closer to the lowest low, so that's another possibility.
Yeah, we had a few mastermind members pick that one up.
Yeah. And then Oxy, Warren Buffett's favorite. I mean, right now the strike price a little bit too high. I would see it. I would like to see it much closer to 55, 56. But this is why I wanted to keep an eye on this and see what's happening there. What else? We had PSX. So that also had a much lower strike price this morning of 82. I'm more interested in a 78 to 80 strike price, and also Schlumberger.
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 Yeah, and so I mean, it got our attention. That's why there's so many maybes when we're running through the list. Just ideally waiting for some lower strikes, and I think we're going to see a little movement this week as things pick up. Not a big surprise that it's a quiet Monday. Just some discovery. What do we do now? Are we seeing a continuation? Are we seeing a pullback? And really, not a whole lot of data to justify a move in either direction. So quiet markets, except for crude oil. But I think that here are a few to watch.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the 5 minute chart, we just see how quiet it is. And this is why this morning, with the push higher, we were mainly focused on selling calls. So that's what we have been looking for. Now let's see if the markets is finding a direction, because right now, I mean, kind of super interesting. We are right now, if you look at this, getting into a wedge formation. So at some point, the market has to break out either to the upside or the downside, possibly in the next few minutes here. And then we'll see if it breaks down to the downside. Then we are more interested in selling puts. If it breaks to the upside, this might be actually good news for our Nvidia and also AMD, which is right now also showing a super interesting formation. So we have this down move here, and then we also have some solid support here. So I mean, over the next 15 to 30 minutes, Nvidia will break out either to the upside or the downside, and that's where we'll look for some more trades here in the next I want to say 30 to 45 minutes.
So do you have a pick, Marcus, if you had to make a bet, higher or lower?
Today it's diddling along. Today it's diddling along. I believe that we will break up a little bit higher, and then we will move back lower. So eventually,
Not fair.
I believe that at the end of the day, it will look something like this. So that's where we are going into this. So I don't expect any massive move, because the news that we had today kind of already out of the way. And the big one was China, but then also the other one, should take a quick look at this, and the Empire State Manufacturing Index that really declined quite a lot. I mean, it was forecasted by 5.1, it came in at minus 31.3. I mean, that's a huge miss.
It is. So new orders and shipments dropped significantly. Unfilled orders declined. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a medium impact report. That's why it wasn't just a huge market mover, but maybe contributing a little bit to the dip, because it did accelerate as we approached the open. If we're looking at a 5 minute chart of the mini S&P, but it does look like traders really just shook that off. Like there's more important things
Yeah,
brewing.
the big report is the ISM Manufacturing Index, and I believe it's being released next week. So this is
think so.
just from the New York area. So therefore, it's very localized, and this is why it raised some eyebrows, like, what's happening here? but not really sending the markets lower. And then, yeah, we talked about the Chinese news. So they were kind of out of the way. We also see that the housing market is cooling down a little bit. No surprise, with interest rates rising, there's less demand for housing. So this is why there's a little bit cool down. But yeah, this is why I think that today will be a diddling along day. I really hope that NVIDIA pushes here higher a little bit. I mean, if you push to 189 or 189.50, I should be able to sell my calls against NVIDIA. And AMD is looking AMD a little bit weaker here this morning, it seems.
Yeah, trying to figure out what to do with 100. It looks like flirting
Yeah,
with
right.
100.
Trading right around the 100 level here, but overall sitting there pretty good. So we'll keep an eye on the scanner and see if there's anything else interesting popping up, or on the ones that we flagged as maybe if we can get a lower strike price. Because when trading the wheel, keep in mind there's always two things that you need to ask yourself. Number one, do you want to own the stock? And the stocks that we have flagged, all of them we wouldn't mind owning. But number two, do you want to own it at the strike price? And I think this is the other really important question, right, Mark?
Absolutely.
All right. By the way,
Absolutely.
if you would like to learn more about this and how we trade this wheel and what this is all about, take a look at this video. This is where I explain the wheel strategy in around 15 minutes or so. So that's a good place to get started. Or you can pick up the book, a link in the description, and then we'll see you again tomorrow morning.
Happy trading, everybody.